We've all had that feeling, right? That completely bewildering, all-consuming pull towards someone. Maybe they're not even your type, or maybe they're just completely unavailable.
Yeah.
But you're convinced. This is it. This is destiny.
You won. The missing piece.
Exactly. But then, and this is the paradox we're diving into today, the moment they show that interest back, the spark just vanishes.
It's gone.
The chase is over, and suddenly, so is the feeling. So today, we're doing a deep dive into that exact confusion. Our mission is to get to the core of it, to the psychology of desire, and to really understand why our brain seems so perfectly wired to mistake that craving for a real connection.
And I think we have to start by separating two experiences that feel identical in the moment, but chemically. They're worlds apart.
Okay.
It's the difference between wanting something and actually liking it. And if you can grasp that one distinction, you stop blaming yourself or them. When that initial spark fades, you realize your brain is basically designed to confuse the signal.
I think this is where so much of the popular science gets it wrong. We hear all the time that dopamine is the pleasure chemical.
It's everywhere.
Right. The idea that when your brain lights up with dopamine, you're feeling joy or satisfaction or even love.
And it's probably the most damaging myth in, relationship science. Dopamine is not about pleasure. It's the anticipation chemical, the motivation chemical.
So it's the chase.
It's all about the chase. Its only job is to get you to move, to expend energy, to pursue the reward. It's the engine, not the destination.
So if dopamine isn't giving us the pleasure, what is? And how do we even know there's a difference?
Well, the key insights came from some really fascinating studies that managed to physically isolate these functions in the brain.
Okay.
There were these experiments with rats that are just so illustrative. They gave the rats dopamine blockers. So essentially, they just switched off the desire circuit.
And if dopamine really was pleasure, then I guess the rats should have hated their food.
You'd think so, right? But that's not what happened at all. The rats stopped wanting the reward. They lost all motivation to run the maze or press the lever to get the food.
Okay, so the chase was gone.
The chase was gone. But, and this is the critical part, when the researchers physically placed the food in their mouths, they still showed all the classic signs of enjoyment.
So they still liked it.
They still liked it.
Yeah.
The licking, the little facial expressions of satisfaction, that ability to enjoy, which is driven by other chemicals, was completely intact. But the desire to chase it was gone.
Wow. That is surgically precise. It proves that the feeling of wanting to pursue someone is a completely separate system from the one that lets you actually enjoy them.
Exactly. And this translates directly to our relationships. When you're, obsessively checking someone's social media or agonizing over a text message, that powerful, intoxicating feeling, that's not connection. That is your magnificent dopamine circuit running this massive romantic script.
Yeah.
And it's not about the person. It's about the high of the anticipation. The person is just a placeholder for the chase.
That completely redefines what a crush even is. It's not a sign of destiny. It's a sign of a highly motivated but temporary chemical reaction.
Precisely.
And that chase dynamic, it leads us straight into this idea of the novelty effect. I mean, why is that early stage, the uncertainty, the mystery, why is it so intoxicating?
Because the brain is, at its core, wired to prioritize novelty. Anything new screams potential new resource.
A survival mechanism.
Absolutely. Something new requires immediate attention. It might be danger, it could be a huge opportunity. Your brain has to figure it out.
It's like your brain is just drunk on what if.
Yeah.
Everything is magnified. The new text message, the smallest detail you learn about them, the complete mystery of where it could all go. It feels like an addiction.
It is, chemically speaking. That newness creates this huge predictive uncertainty, and that uncertainty is pure fuel for dopamine. Your brain is getting what you could call a dopamine bath.
A dopamine bath. I like that.
And for a moment, it's totally convinced this new person holds the key to everything. You're just high on prediction.
But you can't sustain that.
Yeah.
No one can. What happens when the mystery is solved and that new person becomes, a known quantity?
That's when the inevitable gear shift happens. As familiarity sets in, the brain starts to conserve energy. It stops firing off those huge dopamine spikes for something that's now predictable. That system quiets down.
And another one takes over.
And another system starts to come online. You enter the domain of serotonin.
Okay, so what does that feel like, that shift from dopamine to serotonin?
It's like going from a roller coaster to a really comfortable, safe harbor. Serotonin is the neurochemical of calm, stable contentment. Security. It's not fireworks. It's the foundation.
And I feel like this is where the fatal mistake happens in dating.
100%.
We feel that drop in intensity, that fiery passion, And we mistake it for boredom. People say it all the time. The spark is gone.
We don't have that crazy passion anymore. They're just misreading their own body's chemistry. They think, well, the fact that I'm not anxious and obsessively motivated must mean I've lost interest.
When
When
really,
really, the brain is just moving from the chase into the system required for genuine bonding.
Mhm.
That stability feels dull compared to the chaos, but you need it for anything long term.
Which brings up the question of why we're so drawn to the chaos in the first place. This is the magnetic pull of unavailability, right?
Yeah.
Why does someone become 10 times more attractive the second they seem out of reach?
That is pure, unadulterated psychological scarcity. It's one of the most powerful triggers for the human brain. If something is easy to get, we just intrinsically assign it a lower value.
It's an old mechanism.
Ancient. Rare resources are vital for survival, so we are hardwired to value and chase the thing that's difficult to obtain.
So my brain isn't even really assessing the person's qualities. It's assessing the perceived difficulty of winning them over.
Exactly right. The less accessible they seem, the more time and energy you invest. And suddenly their value just inflates in your mind. It becomes about competition, about the fear of missing out on this rare opportunity. The chase itself justifies the prize.
We've all seen it. Someone chases a person for months, maybe years, and then 3 weeks after they finally get together, they're just bored.
And that's the critical caveat of scarcity-driven attraction. Once the resource is secured, the whole mechanism that created that inflated value just disappears. The anxiety is gone, the uncertainty is gone, the dopamine quiets down.
And you're left with the person.
You're left holding something that may or may not be valuable on its own merits. And often you realize you were only chasing the feeling of winning, not the person.
There's another sneaky layer here, too, the memory editor. Our brain isn't just a recorder. It's a storyteller,
And it loves a good story.
especially one that justifies our past irrational behavior.
Oh, memory is constantly under reconstruction. Studies show that when we look back on those intense periods of attraction, we are prone to, well, massive exaggeration.
So we amplify it.
But we amplify it. What might have been just mild curiosity at the time becomes intense, undeniable destiny in hindsight.
But why? Why does the brain bother rewriting the past like that? Why not just accept it was a dopamine hit?
Because the brain needs coherence. It needs a story that makes sense. If you spent 6 months obsessing over someone, stressing out, acting chaotically, that massive energy expenditure has to be justified.
It can't be for nothing.
Exactly. Just saying, oh, I was having a chemical reaction feels meaningless. It feels foolish. So to make it all meaningful, the brain constructs this narrative, I must have behaved that way because they were the one, or my obsession was proof of a profound love,
It edits the story to rationalize the intensity of the chase.
turning it into a beautiful, maybe tragic love story.
That's really thought-provoking.
Right.
It makes you want to stop chasing the chemical fireworks and figure out what real connection even is. If craving is dopamine, what's a lasting connection made of?
It's an entirely different chemistry. Desire is the ignition. It brings people together. But it's vulnerability, trust, acceptance. That's the sustained fuel.
So you're shifting away from the anxiety of the chase.
And toward the security of bonding. We have to move past dopamine and into the world of oxytocin. That's the neurochemical of emotional safety, of comfort. It's the signal to your body that says, you can lower your guard. You're safe.
But here's the challenge, right? Safety and calm can feel, well, less exciting. They can feel boring compared to the high-stakes drama of a new crush. How do we start to redefine attraction so that calm isn't seen as a flaw?
I think we have to understand what excitement really is in the nervous system. It means novelty, uncertainty, maybe even a little danger. It's a high alert state. A peaceful, secure relationship doesn't trigger that same intensity because your nervous system knows it's secure. You're slowly learning that true attraction isn't about who makes your heart race. It's about who makes your breathing slow down.
That's the perfect synthesis, I think. Desire is about who throws your system into chaos. Connection is about who lets your entire nervous system finally settle.
A quiet, deep, stable attraction.
So if you're listening and that initial spark faded or that crush you chased didn't work out, just remember that your brain is a beautiful, if a little messy, machine. It's designed to chase novelty. It's designed to confuse craving for love. And if the chaos subsides, it just means your brain is transitioning and hopefully learning what a quieter, deeper connection really feels like.
Which leaves us with a final thought to consider. If we know that our initial attraction mechanisms are basically geared for the thrill of the chase, what proactive, conscious choices can you make to prioritize the quieter signals? How do you listen for the stability of oxytocin and genuine trust when you're evaluating a new connection? How do you choose to settle instead of always needing to race?